Okay. Good morning, everyone. Can someone please confirm if they can hear me?
Hi, Nick. Good morning. We can hear you.
Oh, right. Thank you very much, Mary Jane. Good morning, everyone. Um, Thank you for making out time to attend this our webinar. The aim is at the end of the day is to educate everyone on how to go about claiming their lost dividends and their shares. So without much ado, I think we should start. We have some people, and as we go ahead, we keep admitting more people. So I'll start by introducing myself. I am Olani Olakunri, Chief Dealer, Head of Sales, Quantum Zenith Securities, and Quantum Zenith, and I have my colleagues here as well from the BD team, um, on this call as well. Brief history about Quantum Zenith. We are affiliated with Zenith Bank brand. Quantum Zenith as an entity has four entities all within one, and we have the asset management, we have securities, we have trustees, and we have the capital. We've been around for a while. We're affiliated with Zenith Bank, very strong brand. And so that's just a brief history on Quantum Zenith. Let me dive into the presentation itself. Okay, so I'm going to take off my video and go to the presentation. So it's basically about how to claim your lost shares and dividends. Over time, we realized that a lot of people have dividends out there and have no idea on how to go about um, claiming these dividends. And the whole essence of this presentation is to put people through so that you would know how to go about getting your dividends. Like they say, where your treasure is, where your heart is. This is um, this is money we're talking about, income you have generated, whether knowingly and unknowingly. And we think everybody should be able to, follow up on their dividends and also track their investment. So hence we brought this session. So I'll start by saying, what are dividends? A dividend is a portion of the company's earnings that's paid to a shareholder. The most common type of dividends is cash payouts, but some companies will issue stock dividends. Dividends are typically issued quarterly, but also can be disbursed monthly or annually. In Nigeria, it's paid twice a year. So, in essence, what is dividends? When you invest in a company, and that's why the stock market is here. When you buy a stock of a company, maybe a Dangote, a Boa Cement, or a Zenith Bank, you have become a shareholder of that company. What that means is that when the company makes money, you make money together. And when the company doesn't make money, you're in it together. If you remember business admin 101, ordinary shares, when the company loses money, you are the one who's most hit. And when the company makes money, of course, you get paid. So dividends are like rewards for your investments, returns on your investments. And basically when people play in the stock market, they play for two reasons. It's either for capital appreciation or basically for dividends. In Nigeria, here, most companies pay dividends yearly, but most of them in the financial sector pay twice a year, which is interim dividends, and the full year dividend typically comes out at the end of the year, end of the financial year, after all the accounts have been audited. So we now look at why are dividends important? Dividends can provide 5 million naira worth of dividends, 5 million naira worth of shares, and your return as per dividends about 10%. That's 500,000 every year that will come. At the end of the day, 500K can do a lot. Dividend paying stocks provide a way for investors to get paid during rocky market periods. So a situation where we're in a bearish market, and macros in the economy, you can't sell because you sell at a loss. But if it's a dividend paying stock, at least yearly you will get your dividends and they will accumulate. They may provide some hedge against inflation, especially when they grow over time. Yeah, of course, when you buy shares you average down your cost and your dividend yield sometimes can even do better than what inflation is doing out there in the market. So dividend paying stocks on average tend to be less volatile than non-dividend paying stocks. Yes, because a lot of people that invest in dividend paying stocks, there's a quite large number of people that invest and hold because of dividends. And so the price volatility isn't too much compared to non-dividend paying stocks where people just play for capital gains. So they can act as an income stream. Yeah. So one of the things we tell people is when you get dividends, rather than spend it, you can take the dividends and reinvest and buy more of that stock. In that sense, you're building your portfolio over time. Okay. Okay, so this is just statistics of unclaimed dividends that was rolled out by SEC. As of August 2023, the amount of unclaimed dividends rose to about 190 billion. That is a lot. And, and that was represents a 700 in 2021. So that means Nigerians have 190 billion naira sitting down somewhere, not making income for them. And this is literally not acceptable. SEC has been really, really going around creating awareness that people should come and get their funds because their job as regulators is to ensure that the investment space is safe and people also get their returns on investment. So they're trying to build confidence in the market, capital markets, and whatnot. So they're trying to encourage a lot of people to come and pick up their dividends. 190 billion with the registrars, they have to return to the company, probably the company will flip it or whatever. They should not be generating income on your own money. So the whole idea is that, look, we need to look for a way to reduce this 190 billion, at least to a large extent, and people should be aware that they have returns on their investments and they can go pick it up. Okay, so reasons why we have a lot of unclaimed dividends, multiple subscriptions. Back in the days where there were a lot of primary issues, a lot of people would subscribe multiple times using different variations of their name. And if you remember back then, we didn't have anything like EVN. So even to connect, people's names to the BVN became a big issue. So if my name is Olakunrin Olani Olawande, I can use Olakunrin Olani Olawande, and I can use Olakunrin Olani Olatubosun, Olakunrin Olani Joseph. At the end of the day, when it's time to consolidate, it will be difficult to do that. At the point, we had no central database for the registrars. That was the point where each registrar has their own requirements and can make it quite, cumbersome. So when you go to a certain registrar, they tell you they need this. The registrar B will tell you, no, I don't need this. The registrar C will tell you, I need to do it this way. And at the end of the day, it becomes cumbersome, it becomes tiring. And a lot of people just, let it go. Clients don't track dividends. Maybe they have got bonds in the market, or maybe they have lost money in the market. Maybe they don't have faith in the market anymore. So a lot of people just say, how much is the shares that I have? How much are the dividends? Well, how much are they giving me? 50K every year. But you realize that 50K every year in the next 10 years will have accumulated to 500,000. So clients don't track investments. The non-tracking of investment, dividends of deceased investors. That's another big issue because the process of transmission is very, very cumbersome. You have to sign forms, you have to physically go to the registrar, you have to change accounts, you have to go and get a letter of admore. And so a lot of people just overlook it and say, look, how much is the shares that my late dad or my late mom left for me? Please, I beg, let me put it aside. Failure to update records. So when people get married, people change addresses, people change signatures. If you fail to update it with the registrars, they will not release your dividends. Buying shares with different combination of investors' name, I've spoken about that. Errors in spelling of the investors' name. So sometimes when we open accounts, for example, human error is inevitable. So where they're meant to put RI, like my name is Olakunri, and a lot of times call me Olakunle. So somebody can end up putting LE behind my name instead of RI. And there's no way I'm going to get to the registrars and I will say I'm Olakunle and then the form says Olakunle, then I have to go through the hassle of trying to do change of names. So at the point that also discouraged a lot of clients. And then this person of dividend warrants. So back then, I'm sure all of us would remember there's this slip they used to send to our parents then with like a small check. And that will show your dividend that amounts to you. And sometimes get lost in the mail. Sometimes you can't find it. Sometimes they have printing errors. I mean, sometimes, it expires. I know it has 6 months warranty. So, for example, you have it for 6 months, you have not gone to cash it. It expires, and then you have to go through the trouble of going to the registrar, identifying yourself, then stamp it. So at times you can look at it and say, how much is the money? 2,000 naira. I will now drive all the way to the registrar to do it. So people just dump it, and leave it, and that's how the funds accumulate. So in order to stop all of this, SEC came up with the beautiful idea of having a search portal, whereby when you go to the portal, you put your name, and then it brings out whatever dividends belong to you. And so at least it gives you an idea of where to start from. Because back then, you'd have to probably write a letter to all the registrars and then follow up on all the registrars before you even know how much you have or what dividends you have. But with this one, you put in your name, and once you put in a name, your name and your surname, it gives you an idea of the dividends that you have. Okay, so this is just a screenshot of how to go about it. First of all, you go to the SEC portal. Um, I think I hyperlinked it, so I'm pretty sure if or you can copy it and then go and check later. You will see this page where you can type in your last name and then your first name. Once you do that, it brings out the dividends that belong to you. And I did an example with my own name here. You can see down on the screen, Olakunle Olawande. So the example I gave of different names, like this Olakunle Tubosun, was probably when my dad bought them for me, you know. And you can see, me trying to get this now, there might even be issues because these are two different names, Olakunle Olawande and Olani Olatubosun, Olakunle. But this is how to go about it. And then on the right side, you can see that the registrar's name are there. So Veritas registrar. So for me to collect my outstanding Guinness Nigeria PLC dividends, Veritas registrars. For me to collect my Diamond Bank, which metamorphosed into Access Bank, I'll go to Coronation Registrars and I'll fill the form. So this is just a typical example of the e-dividend form for Veritas. Of course, I'm sharing this for obvious reasons. As you can see, the form has a list of the companies that they manage. And if you remember, I had Guinness. So if I also fill this form, I will take the Guinness part of it. And then here, I put my BVN number, my bank name, bank account number, account opening date. And if you can't remember, you can leave it blank. Nobody probably remembers the date, the year, or the year they opened their account. And now this is where it gets interesting. Shareholders account information. You need to have a CSCS account, right? You need to have a CSCS account for this to fly. And I'll explain why when I get to that part. But this is the Veritas registrar's form, and then you fill it, you sign, you put a passport photograph with your name, an email or phone number behind it, and then you send it to your broker. Now, let me explain why I said you need to have a CSS account. First and foremost, you need to run this through your broker. Either which way, you need to run this through your broker. And the reason why you probably will need this is this. If at any point in time you had not done what they call stock share, I think it's called share allotment form. So basically, when you buy shares back in those days, you are meant to fill a form. You buy any shares, you put in your signature. It is that signature that will be taken to the registrars and lodged with the registrars, right? So when you now come and then you mandate your e-mandate form, it is that signature of yours that you use when you bought the shares and the signature on the e-mandate form that they will check and confirm. This is the old school way of doing it. And unfortunately, some of them still do it that way. Some of them still do it that way. And then that's one of the ways your dividends will come in seamlessly, right? So for those of us that have outstanding dividends, the first step I would advise, we won't go through this route. We would first of all just submit the e-dividend forms because some of these registrars now use BVN. Like if you see on this form now, there's the BVN number there. So they will use it to cross-check against your BVN in the bank you use and whatever. Because for example, my Datamax registrar, my GTB shares, I never filled any form, but because I'm pretty sure because I have a GTB account, they've been able to, link the two together so I get my dividends seamlessly. The reason why I explain this is that for those of you who will fill these dividend forms and send it, if by chance they come back and say, look, we don't have your signature, then we would have to go through that lodgement, um, the stock allotment route. But more often than not, they will connect your BVN to your account number and they will pay you. Like I said earlier, SEC is trying a lot to make sure that this money is reduced. So they've told those registrars to be less rigid than they used to be before. Okay, so in order to avoid future issues of dividends hanging, because over the past 2 years, we realized a lot of people are now interested in the stock market. A lot of people are now buying shares, doing all sorts of investment for their kids and all of that. To avoid future accumulation of unclaimed dividends, like I said, once you purchase stock that you have not bought before, so Transcorp Power, for example, that just got listed last week, if you buy it, you can ask your broker, or ideally your broker should advise you to do the shares allotment or the share transfer form process, which means you sign on the share transfer form because you have the Transcorp Power shares, then you will submit it via your broker, CSCS, and they send it to the registrar, and the registrar stores your signature in their computer. So that's to avoid all those hassles. And then once that is done, your e-mandate form is sent. They also send it in, and that's it. Once everything is fine, you will be paid your dividends seamlessly. You just wake up when they pay dividends, payment date, you just see the money hit your account, boom, and then you can save or invest your money. So for lost shares, because we also spoke about, apart from dividends, we spoke about you claiming your lost shares. A lot of us, like the example I made back then, my dad probably bought shares from when I was a kid. Have no idea of some of the shares we have. Luckily for us, CSCS as a depository company and a custodian have all this information. And so how do you go about it if you can't find your lost shares? Well, the first step is you need to write a letter addressed to CSCS, instructing them to carry out a global search through your broker. So it's a letter that would say, dear CSCS, kindly carry out a global search on my name for me, Olani Olakunrin. I've mandated my broker to help me connect it. And then you give us different combinations of your name. So Olakunrin, Olani, Olakunrin, Olani, Olatubosun. You give us different combinations. And then you also put the different addresses you might have stayed in while you were buying shares. So I mean, you could have stayed in Aja, you could have lived in Ikoyi at a point, your daddy could have lived in Student. You can even put your office address, because all this will also help in searching out whatever shares you have. So once you do that, you also need an ID card. They did a legitimate ID card. Before, they never used to collect ID card, but recently started asking for ID cards. Then you pay a paltry sum of 1,050 naira to CSS, and then you forward it to your broker, and then they help you carry out the search. The beautiful thing about this search is it will bring out what any shares you have, even the ones you have in an existing house, it will bring it out for you. And the ones that you have in CS, there will be the registrars that have not been dematerialized into your account. It will bring out all those shares for you. And then you can now talk to your broker and begin the process of consolidating everything in one house and do all your dividends hustle. And once the search is done, for each page though, and CSCS charge a fee. I think it's 500 or 600 for each page they find out. So the truth there is when you do global search and you see that you have 15 pages and you're happy, that means you have a lot of stock, and all of that. So that's I think this one is pretty straightforward. This is just talk about our mobile app anyways. For those of you that have accounts with us, with our mobile app, it gives you access to all our products, our asset management, trustees, and securities. If your dividends, for example, you gather your dividends and, it's quite wholesome, why spend it? Why don't you put it in our mutual funds where you can get, return between 10 to 13%? That's our money market fund. We also have the ESG. We have our dollar portfolio fund that's coming up and all of that. So we advise that whilst we process all of that, you can come and place money with us as well. And then even basically beyond all of this, you should always have somewhere where you can always put your money and your funds are safe. So even if you are very, very risk averse and you don't want to do stocks, because I'm a stockbroker. Of course, if you do stocks, it makes me happy. But if you are very, very risk averse, because stocks are quite risky, our mutual funds are things that you can actually sell. You can actually invest in rather, and you get good returns. At least your capital, your initial capital is always safe, and you can withdraw within 24 hours. You don't need to call in. We have our app. You go on, you log in. You want to put the money, you want to pay in money, and all of that. That can be done. So these are just the benefits. Automatic fund identification. You can trade directly. No need for middleman. No need to buy stock. You can buy stocks at your convenience. You can fund your account just a few taps. And no stamp duty payments. No need to pay extra for stamp duty. So these are some of the benefits when you have an account with us. So thank you, everybody. This is the question segment.
I
I can
need,
see that. Okay,
yeah.
hi, Mary Jane.
Okay, thank you very much. So there are questions in the chat for you already. Um,
Yeah. Okay, let me go through it. Is where you getting the form from. Okay, so the first question from Joseph, please, where are you getting the forms from? So you can, if you're talking about the e-dividend forms, right? If you go to each registrar's website, you should be able to get the forms. On that sec link, prior to the beginning of this year, you could also get those forms there. But they did a link whereby there's a portal where you can go and register those things. But I still think it's a work in progress. So the best advice is if you find out, for example, you have a ABN dividends, ABN registrars form, e-dividends form. If you Google ABN e-dividend forms, it will come out on the internet and you can just download it. Whether it's colored, whether it's black and white, it's all fine. The most important thing is just make sure that you fill in the right information. For the stock allotment form, you can always reach out to your broker and your broker can give that to you. But like I said, because of modernization and all of that, I think they started linking BVN to some of the dividends you have. So let's take a chance by just filling the e-dividend forms and sending it in to your broker. If there are any issues, they will get back to your broker within 2 weeks to say, okay, these are the issues we have. We're not comfortable with this person's signature or the address or the BVN or whatnot. Okay, we need the person to do this. Sometimes they will even request that you come so that they can ask you some questions. They can ask you, okay, what address, what was the last house you stayed in? And some personal questions they can ask to verify whether you're the owner of the dividends. Because the truth is, at the point, there was a lot of fraud going on with all those registrars. And for them to also safeguard their own self, they need to put in all these guidelines and all these questions, all these hurdles to ensure that the right owner of the dividends come to pick it up. And so, so I've explained how you can get the app, the forms. So I bought Dangote Flour Mills primary offer and said the share certificate many years down the line. I thought it might be sold and gone through. Okay, so for this one, for Dangote primary offer, I know Dangote they came in as Tiger, and then they sold again. I can't remember who they sold to. But if we do a global search, whatever company they've converted to, the global search will bring out the company. It will bring out whatever company they got converted into. Just like how EPI and Intercontinental Bank and all of that. If you had the shares in Intercontinental Bank and which other bank bought ETI, what's the name of this bank? Oh, that them Hebrews owned. Oceanic Bank, if you do a global search, if you had Oceanic Bank shares, it will be converted into ETI, which is an Echo Bank. And so if you do a global search, it will bring out whatever share. So for this person, the first thing you need to do is do a global search. And a global search will bring out whatever shares you have. If you're not satisfied with it, we can reach out to the EDC registrars. These are the registrars for Dangote, and then we can find out what's wrong with the shares. Okay. So next question, please. Okay. Is it possible to claim on behalf of deceased relatives. Unfortunately, it's not, but there's a process. So if when the person died, there was no will and all of that, they have to go through the process they have to go through the process of doing letter of administration and turning the account into an estate account. So it's something that you can reach out to the brokers also, and that can be done for you. But it's going to be done with, of course, there's going to be a fee. So so the next question is okay. Sorry, I have a lot of questions here. Okay, my late mom bought Nigerian bottling company shares. Nigerian bottling company shares are I think they are delisted, and then you'd have to reach out to whoever was managing the registrars. Then if they had paid off the shareholders, then there'll be a payment plan for whoever the shareholders are. Please, I searched for my dividend. I saw my name, but the registrar name is bank. How can I claim my dividend? Okay, so how do you claim your dividends? What you can send us a message later, or send us a mail and let us know what company it was that you saw, and then we'll help you get whoever the registrar is. Because if every company has got to have somebody managing their accounts. Why does it take time to approve KYC on app? How can I look at my broker and recover my dad's shares? Okay, so obviously approval of KYC has to go through different levels. We have to ensure that compliance and our risk people are on top of their game to ensure that we are getting the right documents and all of that. So you have to pardon us. It's set rules. We have to ensure that we know who we are. We know who we are, opening the account for. So with time, we would also shorten that time span. Locate your broker and hello. To locate my broker and recover my dad's shares, if you go to the NSE website, you can actually search for existing brokers and brokers that are no longer existing. Once you get, can we mute this person, please? So you can go to the NSE website. There's a place called Find My Broker. You can always put in the broker if you know who the broker is, and then follow up on them. If you do not know, you can go through that global search process where you would find out where your dad's stocks are, and they will begin the processing. Must you take dividend to the registrar yourself? So either which way, you can take it to your registrar, but preferably you should go through your broker because your broker will follow up. If you take it to the registrar by yourself, you will definitely need to follow up by yourself. So somebody said, I can have someone claimed, sorry, I can't get that. Somebody said, dividend, I don't think Japan has paid dividends in a long time, but you can also do, if you go to that portal and you will check, that's for fresh instant stream. I'm answering the question. If you can check, you will see that if you have Japan dividends, you will see them there. But I really doubt if Japan had paid dividends in a while. I had few dividends. Okay, so we'll follow up. Just send a mail after this session and we'll follow up on that. Sorry about that. How do I contact a broker? So you can also follow up. That's for Oluchi. You can also follow up with us. And then we can also be your broker and can also help you process your late dad's shares. Who will do the global search? I'm a customer. So you definitely have to do a letter and make the payment, but we can teach you how to go about it. We are the ones who will submit the global search on your behalf, so we can go about it. So just send the mail to us after this program. She will share, she will share my email or email that we can follow up so that we can respond to all these your questions. Okay. Okay. So same thing goes for ITA and Transcorp. So for the person Kelechi Unachukwu that bought Transcorp shares, also to be a global search. We will start from the global search stage. That's where we know what and then know the steps to take up. Okay. Can you assist with this? Yes, for Finbar, of course we can. Just my colleague has put in a mail that you can send them. Just send your name and send whatever issue it is you have. And by Monday latest, we'll have responded to you. Okay. Okay, so I think that's about it. My colleague has sent a link for more information that you can follow up. Thank you very much. I think so that we'll not go beyond the 30 minutes we have placed. Once this is done, so like the link she has sent, if you have any follow-up questions or any issues, you can put it up there and we can begin the process for you. So thank you very much. Mary Jane.
All right, thank you, Nii, for this insightful webinar. It, it was actually mind-blowing. Some of us didn't even know that we had lost shares in our names when we checked the SEC link. So for more information or you want us to follow up, I put a link in the chat. So we'll answer your question. We'll reach out to you on Monday. So thank you for attending and do have a lovely weekend.
Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed
Thank
week.
you. Okay. Bye-bye.